Alright guys, so we're reacting to disgusting food people eat all over the world. Let's see how many of these we've had.
Number 20. Bullet. A developed duck embryo boiled alive and eaten in its egg.
So I've had balut, and to be honest, it sounds terrible. A mostly formed duck inside an egg, boiled, and then eaten. I know it sounds really gross, and I also know it also sounds a little bit controversial in the West, but our cultures are all different all over the world, and this is also considered a delicacy, I think, in the Philippines. So I am highly respectful of the dish. I do have to say, there is a difference between something that's actually disgusting and something that's disgusting because of the thought of what it actually is. I honestly think when it comes to balut, it's more about the thought of what it actually is. I've eaten it actually by choice. It's not that bad, to tell you the truth. I'm even going to say that I kind of like it.
It's really common in Southwest Asia and often served.
That's what it looks
with
like.
a beer.
I got them in
Eggs
Thailand.
are a common food throughout the world, but obviously in the Philippines, they take it one step further.
Yeah.
By taking a developing duck embryo and then boiling it alive while still in the shell. Also,
You notice how the language he's using, he's trying to make it sound like it's really cruel and things like that. And perhaps it may be, you know what I mean? But I almost feel like he has a little bit of a personal agenda against the dish. Either that, or he's just trying to make this tabloid to make it sound more disgusting than what it is. Whatever. But I don't really think this is really that big a deal. You let me know in the comments.
Also, typically eaten with a little seasoning of chili, garlic, and vinegar. All the contents of the egg are consumed, including the visible wings and beak.
It just tastes like eating chicken with bones, to be honest.
Also known as rotten cheese.
Ah! So kesumazu, I don't know what that is specifically. I know that there's a maggot cheese where you eat the cheese along with the maggots that are festering in the cheese. I don't know if this is the same. Let's see.
A traditional sheep milk cheese from Italy. The cheesemakers set the cheese outside and allow the cheese flies to lay eggs inside of it. The larvae break down the cheese fats and ferment it, and some people even leave the white worms in the cheese when they consume it.
Ah! So it's not maggots, it's worms. I mean, apples and oranges, really. But yeah. Wow, so the flies lay eggs and so I'm not going to lie, this really sounds really disgusting and dangerous. However, I've not had it, so maybe it does taste good. I could imagine that this dish absolutely freaking stinks, though. Have you guys tried this one?
This type of cheese was banned for years and only sold on the black market. But years ago, it was declared a traditional food and now it's legal to produce and sell them again.
It sounds like dysentery waiting to happen.
Insects and worms. These deep-fried insects and worms are often eaten in Bangkok, Thailand.
I've had every single one of these. I've done them for food challenges on my food challenge show. This is why I'm reviewing the video today. I have a lot of experience with some of this stuff. The silkworms are actually not that bad. They're a pretty nice snack. The crickets, not too bad. You know, when these really small insects are fried, the texture's a little bit weird. They kind of taste like deep fried seasoned fingernails. That's what they taste like. Once you start getting to the bigger things, like the centipedes, and the water bugs, which are like big, gigantic cockroaches, and the scorpions, they're kind of like fingernails mixed with guts, and they're a little bit more gross. I'm not really a big fan of those. But the smaller insects, I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way to eat them all the time. Actually, not that bad, honestly.
Human insect eating is common to cultures in most
A lot of them
parts
are dried
the world,
out as well for
including North,
snacks.
Central and South America,
Yeah,
Africa,
had all
and
these.
Asia. Some of the insects include bamboo worms, moths, crickets, scorpions,
Yeah, all of
and
these.
giant
See those ones up in the top left? I think they're the bamboo worms. They're actually sold as a dry snack. They have a little bit of a weird aftertaste, I'm not going to lie. The crickets down the bottom right, you might be surprised, but they're actually probably the best. And then we got like the dried frogs to the left at the bottom. They kind of have a bit of a savory taste, but they have a bit of a funky smell as well, which is a bit off-putting.
Insect eating is rare in the developed world today, but insects remain a popular food in many developing regions of Latin America, Africa, and Asia. Number 17.
Alright.
Kiviak. Kiviak is a traditional
seal,
wintertime
really?
food from Greenland. It's made of auks, a similar bird to the penguin, and preserved in the hollowed out body of a seal. The recipe is really simple. Put 300 to 500 auks into the hollowed out body cavity of a seal and press out as much air as possible. Then cover the seal with a large rock pile for 3 to 18 months and eat the auks raw. The birds then ferment and are eaten during the wintertime.
So you're fermenting birds inside a rotten seal. Okay, that one surprised me. Never heard of that one before, guys.
Number 16, 1,000-year-old egg. From China and made by preserving eggs in a mixture of ash, salt, quicklime, rice hulls and clay for several weeks or...
So I've had preserved egg. I don't know if it's exactly the same thing. When I go to the Sunlit Asian supermarket in Australia, I've had preserved duck eggs. I've done them for a challenge before. And they look exactly like this. I don't know if it's exactly the same. I'm going to assume it is. They look a little bit weird. They've got a little bit of a jelly sort of like texture, which is a bit off-putting. Taste wasn't that bad. And I'm actually surprised that there wasn't a pungent smell. If this one is a pungent smell, then this egg is one step further, but we're going to see.
Months. Through the process, the yolk becomes a dark green to grey colour, with a creamy consistency and odour of sulphur and ammonia, while the white becomes a dark brown translucent jelly with salty or little flavour.
I've eaten these looking things, but mine didn't really have that bad a smell, just a slight one.
Fried spider. Also ping is a regional delicacy in Cambodia. The vending of fried spiders as a specialty snack is a popular attraction for tourists.
Oh gosh. You know, as I've said, I've done scorpion, centipede. So if these were fried, I think I would eat them. I know that there are some cultures that eat live tarantulas. I think that is a step that I couldn't get into. But fried spiders, you know, I would do it. But I'm not going to lie, the thought of this, I would be doing it under duress, definitely.
The spiders are bred in holes in the ground in nearby villages and fried in oil. It's not clear how this practice started, but some have suggested that the population might have started eating spiders out of desperation years ago when food was in short supply.
You can tell the body's just going to be filled with guts and it's just going to be so off-putting. The bigger the insect, the more guts you taste. But you know what? The legs might be crunchy and delicious. Not worried about the legs.
14. Smalahov. A traditional smoked or dried Norwegian dish made from sheep's head eaten before Christmas.
Okay. Oh gosh. This must be terrifying to kids. Imagine if the kid went out in the farm and she, you know, like Lisa Simpson and making fun with the little lamb. And then the lamb's like, Lisa, don't eat me. And all of a sudden the kid goes in the house and mum's like, I'm preparing dinner. And then little Lisa goes on the dinner table and sees her pet's head on the freaking plate like this. It'd be freaking horrifying. However, outside of that, I'm not convinced it's disgusting. I probably would find it a tasty dish.
The piece of the head is torched, the brain removed, and the head salted, sometimes smoked and dried. The head is boiled or steamed for about 3 hours and then served with mashed potatoes. Originally, Smalahov was typically eaten by the poor, although today it's considered a delicacy.
What are you talking about? It's 2024 as of the making of this video. Pretty much all of us are poor. Let's make more of this.
Number 13. Escamole. Also known as ant larvae. It may look like grain salad, but this dish is actually made up of ant larvae.
You could play a practical joke on people, and if they were drunk and didn't do a double take, they would think that this looks like either a fried rice or a couscous. It kind of looks like halfway between like a couscous and a fried rice. Reminds me of the Lost Boys when Kiefer Sutherland is like, they're maggots, Michael. And it's just like, yeah. The sound of ant larvae doesn't sound too appetizing. However, I mean, I'm not going to lie. In this picture, call me nuts, it kind of looks delicious, to be honest. It looks like it's well seasoned and flavored.
Escamoles are considered a delicacy in
that just looks like macaroni and cheese in there.
Dates back to the Aztecs. Eggs are harvested from the root systems of agave plants, and the tiny larvae can be found in tacos, omelets, or just on their own. Number 12.
I think I would eat that.
Baby mice wine. In Korea.
So hang on. Is it the blood of baby mice? Is it the urine of baby mice? It obviously comes from the animal in some way, shape, or form.
And technically a food, what better way to wash down your lumps of raw fish than with a nice chilled cup of dead mice? Baby mice wine is a traditional Chinese and Korean health tonic, which apparently tastes like raw gasoline. Little mice, eyes still closed and plucked from their loving mothers, are stuffed while still alive into a bottle of rice wine. What?
Ooh, okay. Some of these ones are really, really out there with what people consider food, you know. Where I live, we would consider mice pets, or an absolute worst, a pest that we want to get out of the house. But damn, a whole pile of baby mice in the bottle of wine. It's not that I'd probably even be worried about tasting the product. I would just feel really mean drinking this, to be honest. I can't do it.
What the Number 11. Sanakji. This is a raw Korean dish that consists of live octopus with sesame and sesame street oil.
There is only one reason why I'd be on the fence onto whether I do this challenge or not. So this is a very popular Korean dish where they get an octopus and they cut it while it's live. And it's still slithering and moving around on the plate because of the nerve endings, and then you eat it. Problem with me is I kind of eat like a duck. And so what's dangerous about that is if you don't chew it up and swallow it properly, the suction still works in the legs while it has the nerve endings and everything going in it, you know what I mean? So if you're not careful enough to chew the food, you can actually suffocate yourself. And so, being that I eat like a duck, it would be a big risk for me.
Looks safe, but the little tentacles may choke you to death if they get stuck to your throat. A South Korean delicacy, this dish of live octopus is eaten either whole or in pieces, depending on the size of the specimen. Served raw and usually only with a splash of sesame oil, it's so fresh that the tentacles are still squirming. The suckers on the octopus can attach themselves inside the throat.
No problem
of the
taste-wise,
customer,
I'm not even bothered by
causing
this.
Choking or even
I've done
death.
some pretty weird
Number
food.
10. Tuna eyeball from Japan.
It's not even so much about eating the eyeball. I mean, it's kind of gross. But out of all the seafood you could have picked, salmon, catfish, whatever, fine. But I really do not like tuna. I will eat tinned tuna if there's nothing else in the house, maybe even put it on a sandwich. But I am not enjoying it. This sounds pretty freaking gross.
Tuna eye can be found staring up at you in most Japanese food stores. The tuna eyes themselves are quite large and are sold by the pound.
Well, shit, that is big. I didn't realize the tunas were that big.
Rice and soya sauce. And apparently when you bite into the tuna eyeball, it explodes with enough fluids to cover half your face.
Oh my god. Oh, that would be the perfect food challenge. As I said, we do a food challenge every week. I don't know if we can get this in Australia. If we have any Australian viewers in here right now, please let me know if it's available in our country.
9. Durian. Nicknamed the king of fruits with edible but bad smelling flesh.
Okay. Little bit of an expert when it comes to durian. Have a Thai girlfriend, go to Thailand all the time. I'm not a massive fan of durian, but you can pick and choose. If you go to a really good durian place, you can pick and choose what durian and what you want. It has a different grade and consistency. There's a lot of factors going into it. It would take me all day long, and I'd have to ask her for a proper explanation. Also, the more you spend, the better quality durian you're going to get as well. If you get a low quality overripe durian, they're the ones that are going to stink where it's absolutely freaking putrid, and the consistency and the texture is going to be off-putting as well. But we have been fortunate enough to get a very, very expensive durian that was perfect, didn't have that much of a smell, and had a beautiful custard texture to it. So overall, I do not like durian very much. It also overheats your body. You don't want to drink it with alcohol. It's very dangerous. Yeah, overall, I don't like it. However, how bad or how good it is dependent on the durian itself.
It's been banned in some hotels and public transport.
Pretty much every hotel in Thailand doesn't accept durian. You pay a fine.
The edible flesh emits a distinctive odor that is strong and penetrating even when the husk is intact. Some people regard the fruit as having a pleasant, sweet smell, while others find the aroma overpowering and revolting. The
Well, it depends
smell
on which
has
one
been
you get.
described as something similar to rotten onions and raw sewage. Number
Yeah, it's kind of a mix between rotten onions and raw. So you know what? That's a pretty accurate description on durian, depending on which one you get. I think the reason it's banned in hotels as well is because for some reason other foreigners in Asia seem to take a real liking to the stinky one. And you know what? Each to their own. Yeah, not for me.
Number 8. Ikizakuri. This is basically fish served while it's still alive. The chef fillet it
How do they
without
do
killing
that?
the animal and serve it on a plate, its sliced flesh and heart still beating. Having been banned in several countries including Germany and Australia, ikizakuri literally means prepared alive.
Yeah, I'm a pretty open-minded guy. I have to say, it does seem a bit cruel. It does seem a bit cruel. As I said, I do have a little bit of a moral compass, and I'm not going to judge everybody else for their own, you know. But I don't know if I could do this while the head is twitching and moving around. I'd kind of feel like a fucking asshole if I did, to be honest. But let's continue.
Delivers on everything the name implies, and explicitly states you can even choose your own fish for the kill.
It's like,
Number 7.
yeah, it's like Death of a Thousand Cuts, but like eating the flesh in front of the fish. That's horrid, man. Absolutely horrid.
Blood platter. Swedish
Blood
for
pancakes. What blood
made
is
of
it?
Pork blood, milk, flour, dark molasses, onion, and butter. Blood platter or blood pancakes are a dish served in Finland and Sweden. It's similar to black pudding, although it's thinner and more crispier, and is often cooked in a frying pan.
You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that these are actually probably delicious.
And the pancakes are usually served with pork or reindeer meat. Number 6. Coxcombs. This is the fleshy growth on top of a chicken's head. It might not strike you as a supper
It looks like
ingredient,
ginger.
but in Italy, they're a crucial aspect of a famous cooking sauce. They also have a place in French gastronomic history and are often used by French and Italian chefs to garnish various poultry dishes.
I don't find it disgusting. I mean, it's just another part of the chicken, but I'm thinking, or the rooster or whatever, or the hen, whatever animal it is. I just don't see the necessity of eating that when you've got the thigh, the leg, the juicy breast, the wings, and every other part of the bird. So I don't get it.
They claim the coxcomb to be very tasty, but chewy. Number 5. Hakao. This is fermented and dried
shark.
for 4 to 5 months. Greenland shark or sleeper shark. Rotten shark may sound disgusting, but if the Greenland shark were eaten in its fresh form, it would be poisonous.
Yeah, see, I think it probably would taste alright, but I think the smell would make me tap out, to be honest. I had shark meat before. I think it was like fish, but just a little bit more leaner and therefore tougher. Yeah, fermented shark meat. I've had fermented fish and stuff before, but in very, very like small doses in a container or in a jar, you know what I mean? But look at this. This looks like kilos upon kilos of meat here. Just imagine the stench. I don't think I could do it.
By allowing the shark to ferment and decay, it becomes edible.
Yeah.
That is, if the person
Isn't
eating
that
it can
dangerous?
get past the ammonia smell and fishy taste. Most first-time diners usually gag, and it's recommended that the fish be chased down with a shot of hard liquor.
Yeah. It just doesn't sound appetizing at all. But I mean, I think the thing I'm more worried about is getting some kind of like bacterial infection or something.
Number 4. Bull's penis. Yes.
Oh my god, there you go. I should have known that this video at some point was going to resort to eating a big cock.
Yes, this is something people actually eat. In China, it's a traditional aphrodisiac.
Look how big that
for
thing
obvious
is. I wish I had an
reasons. It's
anaconda
also
that
eaten
size.
In various parts of the Far East. It was revealed a few years back that China's Olympic athletes even requested bull penis soup on their weekly menus.
So see guys, the doping allegations were false. Everything was above board in the Chinese swimming team. What they were actually doing to get bigger and stronger was eating a whole bunch of cock. Anyway.
Whether or not this contributes to their haul of medals every Olympics, we'll
Oh
never
my
know.
God, I'm
Although
dead.
it's fair to say we don't expect to see this on our
Oh, I'm
local
sorry, my
shelves
friends, don't
anytime
cancel
soon.
me.
Number 3.
Oh.
Mongolian Bulldog. This is a marmot or goat cooked within its own skin with hot stones in the stomach. Bulldog is a traditional Mongolian meat dish which is very popular in camping and outdoor activities.
What? doesn't sound that weird, to be honest. I would eat it, and look at that. I mean, yeah, I mean, it might be a little bit off-putting to the more conservative people with their food and everything, seeing the skin around there and stuff. I'll be honest, to me, that looks just as delicious as like a lamb.
Although it's not a dish for two and should be made for at least 5 people. Meat cut in large chunks is cooked with hot stones in a tightly closed aluminum can until
that makes it look a little bit less appetizing.
Number 2. Prairie oysters. The
prairie oysters. I thought you guys called these Rocky Mountain oysters. Can someone clarify this for me? Is there any difference? But yeah, this is basically eating testicles of a bull. Now, I know you can get these in Australia. I may have to do this as a challenge one day. I don't know where they sell them here, but if I ever do find them and do the challenge, no one's going to ever let me live down that I put balls in my mouth. It's like the Imagination Land episode of South Park.
These are not actually oysters at all. This delightful dish is made from bull testicles and also goes by the name Rocky Mountain oysters.
How are they prepared?
Found throughout cattle ranching country, curious eaters wanting to try the Canadian version are advised to head to Alberta. Prepared, sautéed, fried or stuffed. The testicles are accompanied by herbs, spices, sauce and dips for a real taste of cowboy cuisine.
Well, you know what? They'll probably be really delicious with all the add-ons that they've just mentioned there. However, the texture, I think, for me, would be the big question.
Number 1. Haggis. This is considered Scotland's national dish.
Yeah, I haven't tried a haggis before. I promised my good Scottish friend, Commodore 64 Brannigan, that I would do my first one in front of him. He says it's not as bad as what everyone says. It's basically a dish cooked inside the sheep's stomach. Again, the sound is probably a lot worse than what it actually is. I have no doubt it'll be delicious. If it's good enough for my Scottish friends, it's good enough for me.
And includes sheep's heart, liver, lungs, onion, oatmeal, spices, and stock. And traditionally stuffed into a sheep's stomach and simmered. Typically eaten with mashed potatoes and turnips, and is often served with Scotch.
It looks delicious to me, to be honest.
Haggis is conveniently available ready-made from the grocery store.
Sure.
And is a great source of iron and fibre. Although, would anyone outside of Scotland...
It was a very good video. Thank you, Wacky. I appreciate you. And thank you for watching, guys. Let me know how many of these weird foods you've done or would try. And we'll see you on the next video. Take care, everybody.